right here. So another practice teach of science of stretching for Tai Chi and Bagua, now with extra twists. So go ahead and stand with your feet parallel. For right now, we're just going to do a gentle shaking. So knees bent and just sort of bounce around a little bit. And sort of shake off the outside and come on into here and be here now, not out there. This also is really good to stimulate cleaning up materials that your body has placed for recovery. So if you have inflammation or something like that, when we talk about movement is medicine, this is movement, this is medicine. Shaking is really good for you. Okay, let's actually work on the footwork just a little bit more. So feet parallel, knees bent. Then I want you to take your sacrum and push it down and it'll sort of come under. Let me show you what that looks like from the side. So feet parallel, knees bent, sacrum down, and then it's going to tuck under. What I'm trying to do is flatten my pelvis. Now, the fontanelle, the top of the head in the back, right above the tip of the ears. Imagine there's a balloon pulling you up, and that'll extend your spine. Your weight should shift forward. And then hands inward, relax your spinal column down into your pelvic floor. Could do that again from the front. Let's go through that a couple of times. Once you learn how to do this, you're learning how to engage your ligaments. And you know, when you learn how to engage your ligaments, you learn how to control your power. Okay, so feet parallel, knees bent, sacrum down, and it'll naturally come under a little bit. This is going to bring the front of the pelvis up. Now take the fontanelle and push it up. And then when you internally rotate or medially rotate your hands, it loosens the ligaments on the inside, engages the ligaments on the outside. So this is powerful, but this is relaxed. And so it allows you to relax your sternum down. Now, one more time and then we'll move on. Feet parallel, knees bent, sacrum down and under. When you do that, you hopefully will feel a little more pressure in your heels. So that's sort of a key that you're doing something. All right. So now just from this base, we're going to reach up and inhale. We're going to coordinate our breath with our movement, which is what we're going to be doing quite a bit of today. So let's go ahead and inhale up. Imagine you're grabbing energy from the sky and pulling it down through your skeleton. Down, exhale, down, down, down. Now inhale as you reach down into the earth. And imagine you're reaching into the center of the earth and grabbing some green energy and pulling up as you exhale, 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 exhale. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale down. Exhale up. We're going to be doing breathing to relax throughout today. So as you coordinate your breath and you slow down your breath to around 5 breaths a minute, you'll tend to balance your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. We'll be doing more than that, but that's a start. That's a hint. So now the next thing we're going to do, you're going to need a little bit of a circle to walk around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that as my circle. What we're going to do is we're going to twist our spine and then walk around as we look over our shoulder. Now, why? When you twist your spine, it's going to actually slowly relax the spine over time. The walking is just a gentle little shake. And so this is actually like a little bit of a special, this is a great release for your spine, but it'll take a few weeks, but after a few weeks, you'll start to notice you have a lot more twist in your spine. So feet parallel, knees bent, my shoulders on the inside of the circle. I'm going to turn first at my hips, then my waist, and I'm going to look over my shoulder. Now you can just do whatever you want with your hands. And then I want to walk around 36 steps in one direction and 36 in the other. So let's just walk and looking over shoulder. 36 is enough to do damage. Yeah, and I do damage. Is sort of enough to get engaged and start to have a result after a few weeks. You can certainly do more. And I've already lost count, so I'm going to count the number of times I'm going around. Okay, let's do one more circle. Now just turn around the other direction. Now I've got my right hand on the inside. Turn at the waist, hips, look over your shoulder, and just walk around the circle. Got a little more tightness in this shoulder here. right here. Well, we're going to hit that so hard later. There will be no room for tightness in our shoulders by the end of this hour. Okay. So now let's integrate that a little bit. Just sort of stand there, feet a little bit wider than parallel, wider than your hips, knees bent. Now let your arms relax. How can you tell if your arms are relaxed? Turn your hip to one direction. I'm going to turn my hip to the right, to the left rather. Let your arms wobble. I call this noodly arms. It's actually practice for what we're going to be doing later, where we want to have the muscles that we're stretching as relaxed as possible, because relaxation is the opposite of strengthening. Literally, the muscle fibers you use for strength are the same muscle fibers we're working on to relax. They're called sarcomeres, and they either are engaged, strengthening, or relaxed. So while you can make some strides with flexibility through a strength approach, you get a lot more bang for your buck through what we're going to be doing. All right, so now let's go ahead and do one more sort of twisty thing. Feet parallel. We're going to do this in a couple of stages. I'm going to just hold my arms up like so, and then turn side to side. Slowly turn side to side. Do that a couple of times. Okay, now continue doing that, but continue looking forward. So don't move your head, but move the rest of your body. Okay, now continue to look forward. Stop in the middle here. And now just move your arms and shoulders, not your waist and hip. Okay, now just waist and hip. Finally, opposite. So as the shoulders go one direction, the hips go the other direction as you look forward. We're just warming up the entire body through twisting and movement. Final shake, and then we're going to jump into stretches. So feet parallel, knees bent, just sort of shake in place for a bit. If you're triggered, if you've got just a lot of stuff going on and you want to get into your body and you want to get down lower in your body, breathe into your stomach, expand it, and shake. And as you exhale, open your mouth. Do that for 20 breaths, 5 breaths a minute. You will be in a different mental state, guaranteed. Lower stress. Practice that on a daily basis. You're going to lower your A1C. It's just really good health practice you can do right now, today, and it doesn't take any effort. You can do it while driving. Well, don't do a lot of that while driving, but just basic 5 breaths a minute. Okay, we're going to start by stretching our hamstrings and our back. Now, we're going to have our knees bent. When you bend your knee, you actually move the stretch more into the muscle belly, so that's good. You might want to use some kind of prop to help you hold you in place. So I'm going to give you 3 options and we're going to jump right into it. So it's going to look something like this. We're going to bend our knees real deep and put our chest onto our thighs. And then I maybe do this for some support, maybe even do this, that's fine. And then slowly over time, maybe I go higher and higher and higher. And then maybe I interlace my arms. Do whatever works. As long as you've got a feel of a stretch here, you hold it for the time we're going to hold it. That's great. Now, another option, wall is a great prop. Same idea. Maybe get about a foot length and a bit more out. That might be good. And then slowly move back. And you might even combine those two things. So pick your form, and I'm going to take you into it. So feet parallel, knees bent, about hip width apart. Bend your knees deeply, 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 and then bend over. And here we go. We're going to be here for a little bit. It takes time, 2 to 5 minutes. We'll be here for a little bit of time. I'll keep track of the time. You keep track of your breathing. So inhale slowly to a count of 4 and 8, and out for a count of 8. I'm going to take you through a few of those, starting in 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do the best you can. The more you practice, the better you're going to get at it. When you breathe like this, you're calming your system down. You're engaging your parasympathetic nervous system, which is going to help relax you so that you can, in this place of discomfort, allow your muscles to relax. So we breathe to relax. Remember, we talked about being wet and noodle. As much as you can, relax your back, allow it to extend, allow gravity to do the work. Try not to hold tension. You're going to obviously hold tension, but try to minimize it. If your legs are shaking, that's great. Couple times of doing this, you'll get used to it. Your legs are going to get stronger as well as more flexible. Come back to your breathing. Are you in pain? What's going on? Really scan your body. Scan your body and see if you've got any pain. Take the time to figure out what's working, what's not working. Make micro adjustments to try to get a better stretch or relieve some tension or something like that. You're working on your brain when you do that. You're working on your neuroplasticity, your sense of interoception, and also proprioception. And you're also getting a lot of big words in your vocabulary. Okay, we're about to come out of this. Be careful. Do not, just listen to me here. First, put your hands on the ground or touch your hands on the ground. Bend your knees if they're not. Bend, 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 bend. Take your right hand, put it on top of above your right knee, left hand on top of your left, and push, push, push. Don't use your back, minimally use your legs. Once you're straight, everything's fine. But when you stretch like this, you destabilize the muscles. Don't do anything after this class for 4 hours. Well, okay, walk, but don't exercise, don't jog. This is after that. This is yin. Do everything active before this. Do this last. All right. Now, having said that, let's go ahead and work our way down to the floor. One of the important things about Tai Chi is being able to have balance, and balance is being able to grip with your foot and then maybe shift your weight and so on. So we're going to work on our ankles because ankles and toes are important. So you're going to hate this and you're going to love it as well. What I want you to do is I want you to get on your knees. And if you need some pad for your knees, that's totally fine. After you practice this stuff for a while, that's not going to be much of an issue. Curl your toes under and sit back. Here we go. Now, this is not the full version of this pose, but for Tai Chi, this is the most important part. We're going to be doing some shoulder stuff later on. So go ahead and if you can, reach behind you and maybe if you can't interlace your hands, maybe externally rotate your arms and do something like that. Or just open up your chest. But maybe you can get your hands together. Maybe you can pinch your shoulders and raise your arms. That's cool. Maybe you can put your hands together, something like that. Or maybe you can get all the way into prayer pose, whatever works for you. The thing that's most important for what we care about is actually the toes being stretched. The arches of the feet are being stretched. Your shins will be stretched a little bit. And also, what we're doing toward the ankle right now, this is called dorsiflexion. When you point it, it's called plantar flexion. This is dorsiflexion. This is what you do when you squat, when you sit down. So this is going to help your squats. It's going to help your ability to balance. It's also strengthened my ankles. I used to roll my ankles all the time and it used to hurt. Now it doesn't bother me at all. I don't do it very much, but when I do, my ankles are like, doesn't care. They don't care. Now we're not going to be here as long as some of the other poses because this is highly leveraged. Your toes are probably screaming at you. If you want to direct your ire at me, please do so. I gave this to a colleague, a fellow Tai Chi student, and she came back the next week and she said to me, and I quote, "Brett, why do you hate me so much?" She loves the pose, but it's a painful pose. Now we're about to come out. To come out of this one, come out of it slowly. Don't just bounce out of this. Now, okay, got interrupted. So now to come out of this pose, move forward and get the pressure off your toes. Don't lift them up immediately, but slowly lift them and then maybe just allow them to sit for a second. Maybe wiggle them and now point your toes and sit back. Now, if you need a pillow or something because you have some tightness up here, you sit all day, whatever, fine. Use a pillow. I'm going to go ahead and go onto my heels. Let's go ahead and sit here for a bit. So now we just did this with our ankles. Now we're doing this with our ankles. Dorsiflexion before, plantar flexion now. We're pointing our toes. So this is about the ankles, but also we're getting a nice stretch here. So we're going to be hitting the thighs later, but this is a nice warm up to that earlier. I'm going to my bum is thoroughly on my heel, so I'm going to spread my feet a little bit and allow my bum to go between my heels and onto the floor. Absolutely not necessary. You don't need to do this. But if you have it available, that's fine. Keep the knees together. Now there's a bit of a split. My legs are together, but I mean the inside of my legs, there's a bit of muscle there, or let's say fat, whatever. So my knees don't actually touch, but my legs are as together as they can be. Go back to your breathing. Inhale to a count of 4 and exhale to a count of 8. That'll relax your body. You're putting yourself into an uncomfortable state and then allowing your breath and your conscious choice, intention to allow your muscles to relax more than they were anticipating doing today. It takes time to do that, 2 to 5 minutes. We want to be as relaxed and wet noodly as possible. Relaxed muscles stretch much better than muscles that are engaged. Sometimes we will have some muscles engaged to help maintain balance, but ideally we want to try to get to the point where it's effortless to sit here and do as little as possible. Now, if your bum is on the ground, you might feel compelled to lean back. I'm not going to go very far back probably, but this is absolutely not necessary. And this really gets to the point where it greatly increases the torque on your ankle. So it's taken me years to get to the point where this is something I can even approach. And it doesn't essentially change the importance of the stretch. But I'm going to go ahead and do that. Oops, I guess I'm not going to do that because this is here. Okay, now we're about to come out. To come out of this pose, first thing, push up a little bit and allow blood to return to your shins, your knees, relax your ankles. Get yourself up to a tabletop and point out your one toe at a time. So I'm just going to point it out. You can do this, do that, doesn't matter. Okay, now, turns out this is where we're going to start next. We're going to work on our hips now. We're going to be stretching hamstrings simultaneous with the hip flexors, and we're going to pull our hips at diagonals. It's going to be great. This is actually an excellent go-to pose. If you are compelled to do one pose every day, this would be a great one to do for several days in a row. So, tabletop. Take your right foot, swing it up to where your right hand is. Now, I want your leg either up and down or even forward a bit. Take that right foot 45 degrees out, rotate it outward. This is for stability, and slide your your left leg back, something like so. Now, you might need a pad for your knee. Totally understand. Over time, you get used to it. But this is what we're going to do. We're going to sit here and just open up our hip. So my right leg is bent. It's flexing. It's an flexion. left leg is an extension. So I'm stretching my left hip flexor right here. And underneath, I'm getting a good hamstring stretch. And then again, diagonally, I've got my right leg doing one thing, my left leg doing another. So I've got a diagonal force as well between my right and left side. Breathe to relax. Maybe use pillows for support. Now, you might play with this pose a little bit. So, for example, you might find that having your torso more up and down puts a bigger pressure on your groin. You might find going forward does something else. Play around, but when you do play around, move slowly and make detailed observations of what's moving in your muscle. You're going to need to know that. Going to build that skill. If you're going to spend any time doing deep flexibility training, it really will pay dividends if you get practice actually feeling the muscles that are under pressure, observing subtle changes. Side note, it also increases your neuroplasticity. I already mentioned that, I think. So, neuroplasticity, interoception, your sense of interoception, as well as proprioception, are all being improved in this practice. Also, sitting with discomfort, which is an eminently valuable skill to work on in this ever changing, complex world we live in. Okay, now to come out of this, curl your left toes under and push back, slowly allowing your right leg to extend a little bit, and then slide it back. Slow, slide it back. And push back onto your heels as far as you can. If you're a yoga person, yes, child pose. If you're not a yoga person, still child pose, but push back in your heels works just as well. All right, now back to tabletop. Left leg, swing it around. Right hand, sorry, to the left hand. And again, forward is fine. Really, if you go all the way forward, you're doing the front splits. Let's not do the front splits. We'll just do this pose. So I'm going to rotate my left leg externally out for stability. This leg can fall out or not, doesn't matter. We're looking for a stretch here in the hamstring and also opposite side, the hip flexor. And then notice again, there's a stretch from the lower left to the upper right. So we've got that diagonal pull. This is a great all around stretch and I love it. This is my second favorite pose. I'm sorry, Blaster pose. You're only my second favorite. We'll be doing my favorite later. It'll be your least favorite, most likely. Though the curled toes under is often people's least favorite as well. Come back to your breathing. If you practice this for a while, and when I say a while, let's say you do this exact sequence we do today, you do that 3 or 4 times. You will probably get to the point where you notice already an astounding amount of flexibility just doing that. And your next threat, once you start practicing this, at least for me, was boredom, because you saw how well these stretches work. And you're like impatient. You want to get to the next stretch. Problem is time over tension. 2 to 5 minutes. You got to pay the time. If you can't do 2 minutes, fine. Do the 5 seconds. Then next time do 10. Then in a week you're doing 30 seconds. In a month you're doing a minute, 2 minutes. Better. Better is not always good. 5 seconds isn't very good. But you know what? 10 seconds is a lot better than 5. In fact, it's twice as good. So, better is an improvement over where you were yesterday. And that's an essential practice. A lot of what we're doing is nervous system training here. The breath work is nervous system training. Putting yourself into discomfort and holding it and not losing your shit is training your nervous system. No, don't. I shouldn't be swearing. Sorry, not in class anyway. But I mean, for me, you don't want to do it. And so, regular practice is far more important. 15 minutes a day is much, much better than, say, 3 hours on a Saturday. Like, a lot better. You will get progress from 3 hours on a Saturday, but you'll only be doing muscle fiber primarily. And the nervous system is half the battle at least. And when you're talking about things like splits, side splits especially, it's more. I mean, it's muscle fibers, but oh, it's so mental. All right, now to come out of this, curl your toes under, push back until you can sort of slide your left leg back, and then legs together-ish, push back into child's pose just for a second here. Okay, now for this next pose, we're going to probably want to do 2 pillows for your knees. I'm going to grab these 2 pillows. Now, I want to talk about this pose before we do it for a second. We're going to work on effectively our squat, but we're going to do it on the floor. So we're going to be doing something like this, a tabletop-like thing. But what we're doing with our legs and feet is important here, and I'm going to show it from a standing position first, and then we're going to do it on the floor. So here I am. I'm going to rotate my feet externally. That's lateral rotation. Now, when I'm on the pose, I'm going to get them pretty much flat. I'm not going to do it here because I'd fall. And then we're going to, with my hands on the floor, I'm going to sit into the pose. Now, for me, this hammers or my hip flexors. That's what we're doing. So we're going like this. Now, this pose has made just amazing strides on my hip flexors. So what we're going to do is you're going to be putting pressure on your knees. So to be careful, we don't want to go too wide. You want to go just wide enough and have enough support under your knees so that you're not doing like 45 degrees, a lot of pressure on your patella. So, sounds scary. Just don't put your legs too wide. This is not about opening up the groin. That will happen as well a little bit. This is about getting pressure on your hip flexors. That's how I want us to use this pose. You can do both of this pose. I want to do hip flexors. So I'm going to show this. I'm going to actually show you from the reverse so you can see what I'm doing. This is, if you do it as I'm doing it, if you have the same kind of experience, highly leveraged. So we're not going to do this for very long. So first of all, I'm going to have my feet a little bit apart. And then I'm going to take my feet in, rotate them, set the timer, and here we go. And I'm just going to slowly sit into my hip flexors. Now, I'm already feeling that on my right, but I'm not feeling it very much. I'm going to go just a little bit wider, and then I'm going to sit into it. And that's really all this pose is. And when I do it like this, so I did this pose many times trying to spread my knees. And it works, but there's better ways to do it. There's so much better ways to do it than this pose for that. So this pose, as we're doing it, my intention is for your hip flexors to relax and allow you to sit lower and lower. Now you stay where you're at. I'm going to rotate my pose so if you are looking, you can see it from both angles. By the way, don't come in and out of pose if you can avoid it. Reps are not good. I mean, if you have to do it, that's fine. But ideally, time and consistency is more important. I'd rather you do 2 minutes straight than 1 minute 3 times, probably, almost certainly. Yeah, that's awfully close. Okay, now to come out of this, just sort of pull yourself forward slowly, slowly. If your hip flexors were really tight, and if you sit all day, your hip flexors are really tight, that's going to be a really painful pose. I've worked up to 5 minutes in that pose and it is grueling, but I'll tell you what, I've made huge strides, like inches of stretch just on this pose alone on my hip flexors. So I love that pose, though there are a lot of people that don't like that pose. And I think it's because if you go too wide, you get some weird pressure on your kneecap, and that's not good. It's actually dangerous, but I don't put any pressure on my knees there. That's all about me getting just my knees are holding me in place so I can sit back in. Now, speaking of sitting, you might want a pillow under your bum. So let's go ahead and I'm going to get a nice pillow like this one. If you don't have a pillow, it's not necessary. But the pillow is going to help us lean forward and allow gravity to assist. So, feet together. If your knees are way up here, your knees are way up here. Actually, if your knees are way up here, then maybe put your arms there, and this is your version of the pose for a while. As long as you're feeling some pressure here, great. Now, if you're able to get your knees a little bit wider, that's fine. And also, by the way, this pose is I do this pose 7 nights, 6 nights out of seven as I go to bed. I just do this with my legs, let the blanket put a little pressure on it. I actually often get some pops in my hips. It's wonderful to do at night. So now here's the pose. I'm going to lean forward, but how far? 1, 2, 3, 4. My feet are about 4 fists ahead of me, and I'm just going to lean forward and just let my groin open up a bit. Now, if you're getting a little bit of pain in your lower back, two things you can do. Look ahead. That'll help you straighten your back a little bit. But another trick is it's called blockhead, but I'm going to use a pillow. Just put your head on something. You can even just do this, and it actually does help. It helps reduce the strain on your lower back. So this is a really handy thing to do. I do this. This is like a nice mix into lots and lots of poses. If it's available, you can just let your head droop forward, and it's okay for your back to bend. It really is. Our back is meant to bend. And if you mix the circle walking we did earlier with some of the other twists we did earlier, and you move your back through this sequence, you're going to find your spine is going to be much more pliable. I've actually personally repaired spinal damage from falling off a train bridge, and also some neck damage from whiplash. Now, have I repaired the bones? I don't know. But have I got to the point where I don't have any pain and I have good strength and support? Absolutely. So I've got a functioning spine and a functioning back and neck. And these stretches, 1,000,000% are the reason for that. I mean, just it's just that's all I can say. 4 years of practicing, my body is pain free, and absolutely was not. In 2015, daily headaches, 2 migraines a week, to completely pain free all the time, mostly from diet and exercise, mostly diet and then exercise. Okay, we're about to come out of this. Once again, your back is probably going to be sore, even though you are okay with arching your back. So, what I want you to do is put your hands underneath you and then push, 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 push. And then maybe bring your hands further back and push, push, push. Now, next thing I want you to do is just sort of, you can let your feet spread or whatever, but just sort of reach back and push your chest to the sky, just gently. This is just sort of a help reverse the bending forward. And then relax that. Okay, great. Relax, relax, relax. All right, now we're going to need a wall. So, wall, 2 pillows. Flat pillows preferred. I'm going to ask Mr. Mushroom to move. Thank you, Mr. Mushroom. Pillow 1 is for the wall, the foot that's going to be on the wall and the shin. Pillow 2 is for, what is pillow 2 for? Yeah, I do it. Okay, so what we're going to do is stretch the heck out of our calves now. First thing, tabletop-ish, I've got both my toes touching the wall, toes. Now I'm going to take, and whichever leg I move against the wall, that is the leg that is getting the stretch primarily. Okay, so what I want you to do is take your shin and put it against the wall, right shin against the wall. I want your knee hitting that baseboard hard. Knee on baseboard, that's the most important thing. Knee on baseboard. If you do that, your knee is protected. It's great. It becomes a leverage point for this pose. Now, you sit all day, you might be in pain right here. You might be right here, and that's all you got. And you know what? It's how you feel. It's how the pose feels, not how it looks. If they're getting a stretch here, you are making progress. I absolutely guarantee you, if you can simply stay here and relax, you are making progress. Guaranteed. You'll be able to, when you start to scan your muscles, you will feel your muscle fibers pulling apart like fabric. It is the coolest feeling. Now, if you can, if it's available, go higher. If you can go a little bit higher, that's great. Now, this is not about how close you get your butt to the floor. In fact, imagine there's a hinge from my face to my knee, and the hinge point is my hip flexor. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to elevate and allow my hip flexor to fall open. And ooh, that's a big stretch right there on that. Now, I shouldn't have thrown that pillow away. This pillow is actually pretty handy. Being able to do this. So, I'm going to go over here. You can see what I'm doing. There we go. So, now what I'm doing is I'm dropping my hip and I'm sort of allowing my hip flexor to fall forward, and that's making the whole front of my thigh just get a big, huge stretch. So now I'm just going to balance here for a while. I've got my arm locked out. I'm not using any force here, and very important. If you're using your hand like this, I'm using my fist. Peace fingers only. Peace fingers only. There's bone structure to support this. No bone structure for the pinky finger, no bone structure for the ring finger. These 2 fingers only. Don't use it, you'll break your hand. So if you're going to use your fist like this, use just those 2 knuckles. That's how you do knuckle push-ups. Really important. So I got a big stretch on the front there. We're doing this one pretty quick because we've already done stretching in this area a little bit, but this is a great one to extend. If you like this pose, you can do it for 5 minutes, not a problem. But be careful. Take your time on this one because it's really hitting one thing pretty heavily. It's a leveraged pose, highly leveraged. And so I don't want you to like overdo it on this one. So give yourself some time. Now, left shin, hit the wall. Knee, just knee is kissing that baseboard like it's holding on for its dear life. And now get to wherever your elevation gets you. And then again, the knee is the bottom of a hinge. My shoulder is the top, whatever. And I'm allowing this part of my body to fall forward. And I'm getting a huge stretch right now. And I moved a millimeter, 2 millimeters, moved nothing. Once you get close to a stretch, the movements are subtle. You don't want to go too fast, too hard, because if you do, your body goes and it has the opposite effect. So you want to be at a 7, not an 8. If you can talk normally and it doesn't sound like you're doing anything, you're probably doing fine. You can go a little bit higher, but you'll know. If you start to notice a constriction, it's like a wave. Sometimes it'll be, or sometimes you'll start to notice a wave. You need to pull back. If you don't pull back, what'll happen is you'll trigger your nervous system and everything will just squeeze up. It's a protective response. And that's the sarcomeres. And if you're curious, ask me about PNF, which is a way to use that kind of thing to trick the nervous system to go deeper. So for more fancy words, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. So let's see, we've got interoception, proprioception, parasympathetic nervous system. Haven't said endocrine system yet, right? Okay, great. Pretty soon we'll be talking about the nature of reality. Okay, now to come out of this, sort of just bend down and get yourself stable. And then I put the up leg down and then I bring the wall leg forward. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do, you're going to stay on the floor. And did I just do the wrong thing? Well, okay. That was a mistake. I'm going to go back and do the right thing. I'm going to leave this in. I don't care if this is a bit long. By the way, because that was called Jackknife Blaster. Wonderful pose. It's not in the sequence. I do that one all the time. And it really is a great pose for the front of the side. So if you sit all day long, Jackknife Blaster, huge thumbs up. Love that one. Notice Blaster, Jackknife Blaster against the wall. Great, great, great poses. Love them. Okay, so let's do the thing I meant to say. Now I remember why we needed two pillows. Okay, so pillow on the wall. You might need a pillow for your overleg, maybe not. Now you're going to want something sticky here because your foot might slide forward. And let's see. I think I can make that work. So feet together, about hip width apart. What we're going to do is we're going to take one foot. In this case, I'm going to ask you to take the right foot and put it on your right knee. Now, for you to be able to do that, you might be all the way out here. If that's where you're at, that's where you're at. So you do where you go. So you might be here, and that's a stretch. But this is hopefully going to hit something around the outside of the hip. All right. These are the AB abductors. They help you go out, your legs out. So the abductors, the glutes, and so on. So feet parallel. I'm going to bring my right foot up and put it on my left knee. And there we go. Now, if you're feeling a whole lot of pressure, which you probably, first time I did this pose, it gets much better really quickly. It really does. Um, if you do this pose for like 5 minutes, I've actually had it basically numb out my leg. And that just meant I completely turned off the nervous system. It came right back. It wasn't like for any amount of time, but it was obviously like I should be in more pain than I am, and I'm not. But be careful about this. If I put my arm here, I could really up the strength of the pose just by pushing a little bit. But you know what? Just let it be passive. Now, what we're doing here, this is one way to do a pose. You can do the exact same thing sitting down. You're sitting in a chair, put one leg on the floor, put the other leg up on your knee, and then just let it sit. When you do that, it'll be a lot more passive and it'll allow gravity to do the work. This is heavily leveraged because my leg is keeping pressure here. But if you do it in a sitting position, you'll get a similar effect much slower. Do it while watching TV. We call this half pigeon when we're doing that. Right now, this is called thread the needle on the wall. When I'm sitting, half pigeon. Doesn't really matter what the name is. What's the effect? But if you do this sequence, say 3 or 4 times, your hips are going to open way up just in 3 or 4 times. If you and I would extend the times a bit. Okay, now to come out of this, lift your foot, ooh, and then bring it down. We did this one. Now, something I haven't mentioned at this point. Let's go ahead and get to this other pose. I want to mention something though. We're doing this pose twice. Some poses we only do once. If there's a right left, we do it twice. It's asymmetrical. This is asymmetrical. So the nice thing about that is, let's say you're really tight on one side, do it a little bit longer. Maybe you do one side for 3 minutes, you do another side for 4 minutes. Do not skip one side. You cannot improve balance by doing something inherently unbalanced. All right, that is ironic. It's not. No, it just doesn't work that way. So maybe do one side for 2 minutes just so that you engage it. And then the other side, you do it for 4 minutes if it's really imbalanced. And you might have that kind of imbalance if you do any kind of asymmetrical sport. Swing a racket, swing a club, throw something. So, a whole lot of sports are asymmetrical. Or if you do a sport asymmetrically, if you play football or soccer, and you kick primarily with your right foot, you're going to have asymmetries. You'll notice that in these stretches. So the dominant side is probably the one you're going to want to stretch longer. So balance is what you're going to strive for. You're going to try to get your body to a little more balance. As long as you're doing an asymmetrical sport, your body's going to be unbalanced. Doing this will help you move towards balance rather than going away. Because if you maintain through this kind of a practice something that's asymmetrical, you'll be able to do it for much longer. So if you truly love a sport, you do this, you'll be able to do that sport for years more. And also you will be in a lot less pain. I mean, personally, I'm in a lot less pain. Okay, let's come on out of this. Just extend both your legs. Sort of sit here for just a second and just move your feet side to side gently. Okay, continue. I want you to extend onto your back. So laying on your back. Now, for this pose, I don't need a pillow under my head. You might need a pillow because we're going to be lying on our back, but you want to get comfortable on your back. And I'm going to face this direction so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so lying on your back. Let me set the timer. We're going to be here for a little bit longer. This is a really lovely pose. Now, if you have trouble holding this pose to the side when we do this, you might want to do something like use a chair or a pillow. Okay. I'm not going to do that, but you might do that. Okay. So to get into this pose, take your right foot, put it either behind your left knee, like under there, right there. That's fine. Or over, and maybe even further down. That's not the stretch, but that's where you start. Put your leg either behind or over. Now take your left hand. I'm lifting my legs now. I'm going to take my left hand on the outside of my right knee, and I'm going to twist to the side. Twist, twist, twist. Now, if you can double lace your feet, that's fine. The pose is not where the feet is. The pose is right here. Big pose. A little bit of the abductors, the abductors, and then a lot of the lower back right here. Big pose. Excuse me. I'm going to tuck my shirt in there. There we go. This is my OnlyFans site. Like I have to have an OnlyFans site. Oh my god, that's a hilarious thought. Okay, so we're nowhere near coming out of this pose, but I cannot emphasize when we do later on, really, really slow, really, really slow. Okay, so here's some logic for you. When you sit all day, your body adjusts the front of your body, the muscles, to make them shorter. Your body adjusts and accommodates to how you use it. So when you sit all day, the front of your body is short. You stand up, all those shortened muscles are now being strained, and so they pull because they're short. So what makes up for that? Your lower back. Everything pulls on your lower back. So by stretching your front, you're going to have less lower back pain. However, this is stretching the heck out of your lower back, and it's wonderful. Now I'm looking straight up. Actually, I've got my eyes closed, but I'm looking straight up if I had my eyes open. This leg is hanging, or this arm is hanging out. Um, you might not be able to, it's unlikely you'll be able to do this right away. Use a pillow to support yourself. We're going to be doing, if you do this sequence, we do enough shoulder work that after doing the sequence 3 or 4 times, you'll have likely have the flexibility to do this. But this actually can be pretty, this is really intensifying the overall spin. And so if this is too much, bring your hand in, point your elbow. Perfectly fine. Do this. This is fine. Now, I haven't been talking about this, but when you take a breath, breathe into your belly. What does that mean? Expand, physically expand your belly. Why? It does several things, but two important things. Thing one, the vagus nerve innervates your belly. So it's going to stimulate your vagus nerve. When you stimulate your vagus nerve, you come out of sympathetic and into parasympathetic mode. You do that enough over time, you'll reduce your A1C, probably reduce your fasting glucose, all reduce your inflammation. There's lots of physiological and neurological benefits to that. I completely lost my train of thought. Time's up. Okay, now to come out of this, really, really important. First of all, if your feet are twisted, untwist them. Get your right foot on top of your left leg. Slide your right foot, slide, slide, slide until it touches the ground. Slowly get your full foot on the ground and then slowly twist back. Why? Just trust me on this. Please trust me. I ripped my back once and it, yeah, just don't. Come slow. Now, sit here with your feet flat on the floor. Feel your back. Feel your back. My left side feels exactly as it did before, kind of feels like it's touching the floor. My right side feels like it's curved up and loose as heck. It's just completely loosened up. I love this pose. It's a big one. Okay, so now, however you had your foot before, we're going to do the same thing. Left foot. If you hooked it, hook it. If it's over, over. Slide it down. However, lift your legs. Take your right hand outside of your left leg and twist, 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 twist to your right. Looking straight up still. All these poses really do give, I think, a really good overall body stretch. There's a lot more we could be doing. I've got 60 or so poses that I think I'm familiar with, but this is a good basic set of poses. And guess what? Do three of them a night. You don't have to do this all in one sitting. Do two or three poses a night. Spend 15 minutes. Work through this entire sequence once a week for 3 weeks, and I guarantee you, I did something similar, and I gained about 6 inches of stretch in a particular yoga pose and three times through that sequence. Now, a couple of things. Time is important. You got to be in it for 2 minutes at least. If you can hold it longer, better. 5 minutes, beyond 5 minutes, probably overkill. Better to get diversity for most stuff. Hip stuff might is a good exception, especially side splits and front splits. But blaster, we did that one where we were big old stretch on the hips. You can definitely do that one longer for than 5 minutes and get something out of it. That's because there's so many muscles and things are so deep. Okay, I'm noticing a bit of a pressure point on, let's see, my shin. Now, I want to talk about this for a second. If you feel like a pressure point, fix it right away. Fix it right away. Here's what's going to happen. You think, it's a little bit of pressure, whatever, no big deal. You're actually ignoring a pressure point, and then you're turning your nervous system off. Nervous system is going to you're gonna bruise yourself or do damage. It's really easy. So, like for example, you got a crinkle in your pants. Adjust them. I have a bone hitting my like there. Fixed it right there. That's all I needed to do was to fix it. Just make a micro adjustment. If you find that you've got an especially high pressure point, don't leave that because that will do damage or it'll certainly hurt. It may not do damage. It probably won't do damage. It's not going to do any permanent damage likely, but it's not. It's very unpleasant. Okay. Again, to come out of this, unwind your feet if they're wound. Take your left foot and put it on your right leg and slide it, slide it, slide it. Toes, foot down on the ground, slowly turn back. And then just put your arms out to the side like you're making the letter T, and then just move your knees back and forth slowly just a few times. Very slowly. Now we're going to stay on the ground and we're going to need a wall. So get ye to a wall, stomach down. This is my favorite pose. This is the big pose. Now I'm going to do something here that I will not be doing in the real class. This is it. This is a latex wall. My hands will slide on it. When you do this pose, if you do it for 3 minutes, you're on the borderline. If you do it for 4 or 5 minutes and you start to slide, it hurts a whole lot. And it sends like searing pain. It can send searing pains. Like if you go like that, you do not want to slide on this pose. Um, there, that's good. Okay, that's it. Now, if I in the class, I would only do this pose for like 2.5 minutes. I think that's what I got. I'm gonna do it for 5 minutes here because I'm not doing the class and I want to do this pose for 5 minutes. Okay, now head on the wall, reach up, hands equal height, and then they can be wide or they can be a little bit less wide. Depending on where you make them, you'll have a slightly different experience. And then just drop into it. If you can let your head fall forward, that's fine. Okay, if you hold tension in your shoulders, this pose is going to get into your brain. And I mean that in a very literal sense. It's going to mess with you. This is the pose where you will learn eventually to face boredom and not allow it to distract you. And when you experience this pose long enough, you'll understand what I mean by that. Maybe if you also meditate, you'll understand what I mean by that. Now, I am doing something on this pose that you may or may not try. I wouldn't recommend doing it for a while. If you'll notice my feet, I've got my toes tucked under. And so the way I'm doing this, I'm getting a little pressure from my toes pushing me forward just a touch, which extends the stretch slightly onto my armpits. And if I push just a little bit, I can do that even more. And then I go deeper and then I release it. And so I sort of push myself a little bit deeper and then relax. You'll probably feel tingling in your arms. It's okay, probably. Here's how you know you've overdone it. If you come out of a pose, when you come out of a pose, if the tingling goes away in 5, 10, 15, 30 seconds, it's fine. If it's longer, don't do it like that anymore. Excuse me. Okay, to come out of this, push with your stomach, push up, and then that'll release the pressure on your arms and slide down, slide down, slide down. Oh boy, that was a big one. I love this pose. Put your elbows under your shoulders and push up on your elbows, and then sort of you're gonna get a bit of an arch in your back. And basically, this is a turtle back. So just stretch your back. There we go. Now, last stretch, staying on your belly. I'm going to turn around here. See what I'm doing? We will do this one for this long. Okay. Now, this last one, we've done a lot to our shoulders. What we're going to do is we're going to basically pull our shoulders apart. We're going to put our arms like this. Then we're going to put our chin so on top. So lay on the floor. We're going to do this one twice because it's asymmetrical. So right arm in front of left, left arm back, and then take the right hand all the way to the left and the left hand all the way to the right. Scoot, 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 scoot. Hopefully your elbows at least meet or even cross. And then set your chin down. And here we go. Now, it's awkward pose at first. It takes a while to get used to figuring out how to breathe with your chin like this. At least it did for me, but you will figure it out. And you're not going to believe this, but I swear to you, it's true. It's very easy to fall asleep in this pose once you get used to doing it. Set a timer, wake you up. I have woken myself up snoring in this pose multiple times, or woke myself up from snoring. Okay, push up with your stomach and twist your arms. Now put the left arm in front of the right arm and move your right hand to the left, your left hand to the right. Scooch, 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 scooch. And then take your chin and put it down on the front or left arm. And here we go. Push up with your stomach. Get your arms here under your shoulders here, and then just put your head on your hands for just a second. Spread your elbows out just for a second. Relax here. We just stretched our shoulders diagonally in two different directions there. How do your shoulders feel? What the feel between your shoulder blades? How does that feel to you? Do you notice anything? If you hold tension in your shoulders, this last two poses were probably just murderous on you. And that's good. That's good. It's a tough love. Okay, go ahead and slowly make your way up standing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go through this sequence again, even though, you know, I may or may not do it in the class because of time. So let's work on Wu Chi for a bit. Wu Chi is the basic pose or stance before Tai Chi. Wu Chi is literally before Tai Chi. It is the lack of duality. It is the singularity. It is the lack of separation from yin, the separation of yin and yang. So feet parallel, knees bent, sacrum down, tucked under. You're tilting your pelvis up a little bit so that you're going for a neutral pelvis. We're working your way there. Push the fontanelle up, rotate the hands in, and then attempt to relax your chest down. And hopefully you feel more pressure in your heels. And then once you have that, sort of relax as much as you can while maintaining that. Just hold that for a second. Okay, so let's go ahead and gather some clouds. Inhale up, grab ball energy, and then exhale down. Inhale up or down. Exhale up. See that yin yang there, that infinity symbol? We're going in a circle here. Inhale up. Come into the center. Exhale down. Form the other side of the infinity symbol. And inhale, exhale up. Okay, and finally, you might be a little bit tired because of all the breath work and especially those last few poses. So let's go ahead and shake ourselves awake and shake ourselves back into reality just a bit. So just sort of sit here and shake. That's it. Not sure how long that was. Did a couple poses a little bit longer. Got interrupted, but overall, I think that went well. I'll take a look at it and review it. I think that's enough stretching though.